What is the patent deal? Think quid pro quo. Remember, patents actually stimulate innovation by providing a legal monopoly to the inventor in exchange for publicly disclosing their invention. When you hear the term patent deal, what people are referring to is what it actually means to have a patent. Essentially, a patent gives the owner of the patent 20 years of exclusivity. In other words, for 20 years, they have the right to stop others from making, using, importing, or exporting their invention for their own commercial gain. Inventors get that exclusivity in return for making the invention and disclosing it. What a lot of inventors don't realize is that patents, and even patent applications, are published after a certain period of time. The idea behind making the patents publicly available is that they will stimulate innovative thinking by others and ultimately, and hopefully, contribute to economic growth. What makes up a patent and what is needed to file a patent? Patents are made up of three main sections. The specification, which details 1, the written description of the invention to enable the claims you are going to make. 2, experiments to support the claims. For example, test data, methodology, etc. 3, background information to support the need and to distinguish the invention from others. And 4, explanation of the figures. The section for the figures includes details on experimental data, drawings, schematics, etc. The claims section, which is really the most important part, details what the inventors are claiming that their invention is or does, and what the patent will ultimately cover. To file a patent, you must have 2 things: conception, the mental act of forming in the mind what an invention would be when reduced to practice, or reduction to practice, which occurs when the inventive concept is in a physical form that is workable. You must also overcome 3 hurdles: novelty, non-obviousness, and usefulness, the latter of which is often the easiest to achieve. Not all patents, however, are useful or have commercial value. There are many examples of these throughout history, and only 1 in 20 patents or so actually cover something that is in the market. Patent process and timeline. As you may know, the process and timeline for establishing intellectual property protection can be a lengthy one, and really depends on the type of IP that you are pursuing. There are 3 main types of patent filings. These include your provisional, which is a placeholder patent application establishing a priority date and giving the applicant 12 months to generate more data. The PCT, or Patent Cooperation Treaty, which is an international placeholder and is good for 18 to 30 months. You must make an international filing decision at the end, though. And finally, the national stage applications. The national stage, or utility application, is what actually gets examined by the United States Patent and Trademark Office in the end. A provisional patent application is generally your first placeholder patent application. It is good for 12 months, it is not reviewed unless there is litigation, and it is a good mechanism to preserve your patent rights internationally. A utility patent is usually what your provisional application is converted into at the 12-month deadline, and will publish, generally 6 months later. This application is the basis for what will be examined by the Patent Office. A typical utility patent can take anywhere from 2 to 6 years or more to get to grant, and once issued, you will have around then 14 to 17 years of the 20-year patent life left. Once issued, you can now legally enforce your patent, but are required to pay certain maintenance fees at the 3.5-year mark, the 7.5-year mark, and the 11.5-year mark. The United States Patent and Trademark Office, or the USPTO, is the government entity in the United States responsible for prosecuting patents. Once the utility application is filed, it is examined generally within 9 months by an examiner at the USPTO. Once examined, it is common for the applicant to receive what are called office actions, which detail rejections based on prior art. These can be rejections based on novelty, non-obviousness, utility, and formalities. The most common rejections we see are around novelty and non-obviousness. Briefly, foreign patents are prosecuted in each country and can be extremely expensive as a result. They typically follow the markets of the product you're trying to patent and commercialize, and can sometimes be difficult to enforce depending on the jurisdiction.